Okay, I'm gonna do something I haven't done in a while. I'm gonna do 2 videos today. It's a 8:45. Stella is starting her wine because she wants to go out and walk. It's so cold still. I don't like to go out so early. She likes to go so early, which is still foggy. It's still cold. And our daylight savings crunch has already started. It's dark so early and it stays dark so late. So whatever. This fucking bullshit. So anyways, there's like a lot of stuff going on that I have been talking about. So I want to say stuff about it because it's fucking blowing my mind up. And, but I may repeat some stuff I said earlier because, but there was a story I didn't finish this morning that was like, oh yeah, I got to talk about this. And then there's just more. So there was just more elaborating off of that where I was like, oh my God. So there's like so much popping off. And there's so many people now who were like, what the hell is going on? There's just all these videos showing all this stuff. How are these people not seeing it? And it is the news that is saying this other stuff. So these people are believing the news instead of believing people who are there on the ground. And so they're calling the people on the ground liars, and they're trying to misinform people, and these people are ready to go and fight them. Then you got the people, the hillbilly people, which they are done. And this is the thing about them, is they've been done for a long time. That's why they were always staying up in the hills. They were being lured down. They've been under attack for a long time, and they've been taking their land for a long time. And that was another one of the stories I don't think I told yet that I wanted to tell this morning, that was the one I said, oh, I gotta tell the story. And it's got a shocking thing in it. But and one of the things that just reminded me of that too was because there was just a video of Maria Shriver walking down the street, and I think maybe shapeshifters can't hold their form. The densities changed, or our perspectives change, and so they can't hold their form. She looks like she's half reptilian walking down the street. She's creepy as fuck looking. So, whatever is going on with that, and who knows, like there's people who are out there definitely creating interference with information, but there's also that part where they're creating it to let us know the truth. And I don't know all of this stuff. The story that I was going to say, I'll say it now because it has relations in here. Think, isn't Maria Shriver a Kennedy? So she, because that has always been like, there's a lot of weirdness about the whole thing. And, just like the guy who they're saying is JFK Jr. was the replacement for the other guy, that like this is a family that, like, if you went back into gangster times, like way back, these people were against each other. Like these fights have been, but that family has been around a long time. I don't know that they are a blossom from the 12 original families or whatever, but they, some of these lineages are very, I don't know, pure for a long time. And so, and when it's been like the thing with old money, like that was a very much more of a distinction, I think, than just, the blue blood, the old money. New money is not the same as old money. It's very, because these lineages, and that family is definitely old money. So, and there could definitely be, that doesn't mean necessarily to everybody in their family is a fucking reptilian, because like Jay-Z's family, his family may not be reptilian. It could have been that Jay-Z was a promising young musician, and he went in and they wanted to control him. They did it through mind control and drugs and different things. At some point, then they just will take their consciousness, or they will take their form, their identity, and then they will use it. So there's beings, I think, that take over people's identities, because we have clones. We have a lot of stuff going on. Like anything, you could just be open to it all, because everything is happening. And so the people who, so the people, I swear to God, it's every time where I get to this, it's to the people, it always is like the reset. Okay, so the people, um, I've talked a lot about this attack that has been on the hillbillies, the mountain people and stuff. And that, think of them as kind of like a village or a tribe. And think of them as being the people who were running from the church and the royals a long time ago from their different districts, their different countries. Because some was the Netherlands, some was Scotland, some was Ireland, some was Italy, some was uh, what is the UK. So there's like all of these different places, these positions, just as there was different crowns of control, and using the church, and then the folding over of the doctrine over what was the prescription to follow, and creating tension and war to control the people. And there's a lot of but see, that's where you would go back, like, the Kennedy castles or whatever against these ones. But these ones, the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, and stuff like that, always been the power people from, because the 12 original people. But these other people they've known how to work the system or something. I don't know. But they've been around for a long time. So you had people who were escaping a long while ago, before America was discovered. They had to do something because they knew all these people were escaping, so they had to go look for them, I think. And then they're like, "Oh, hey, look, we found a country. Look, there's people here, but we're just gonna kill them and pretend like they are." And then we're gonna say that we brought up, like, some of these stories are so fucking weird, man, and how much we just rode along with this. So but all these people went up into the hills and stuff. And that is what it showed like in that show Outlander. Like all these people who were escaping, like at the time it was someone King keeps coming into my mind. But it was called something, like these people were called the King something, but it was this war in Scotland. And so that they were escaping, but the wars were just all connected, just like how they're all connected still. And so the people were escaping and coming over here, and then it followed them. And so they just brought their war over. But the amount of people, it was like the farmers and stuff were leaving, but it was kind of like most of society would have been considered farmers, because most of society were more of a simple people who grew their food and took care of their own and just lived in simple lives. And then the part where they started trying to lure people at some point, because they saw the hook of how you can draw some people in with bright shiny lights, and you could have this, you could have that. So it was a lure to pull people in, and they've used these, but they figured out how to use them, because for a while it was they used taxes, just driving people into the ground, into starvation and stuff, to keep them repressed and oppressed, and keep them sick. There was a lot of sickness, like the plague. I'm sure it was fucking something that they did. So all of the stuff that they would do to keep the people under control. But the people started escaping, coming over here, going into the mountains, and they came and they started trying to fight the people in the mountains. But these people are the resilience. They have a resilience in their blood. And so some of them drove in deeper into the mountains and stuff. And I think that's what they try and show in that show, Wrong Turn. Like there's people who went deep into the mountains. They don't live like us anymore. But then there's also, for sure, there is these feral people, because of the lack of genetic possibilities, restricts and creates mutants and stuff. So there's those people. That's where you get that movie also, Wrong Turn, that they show about that. But then it was the most recent one is where they showed about these like Viking people out there, and these people are like hunters, and like they are survivors, that they've been up in the mountains, like not needing any city, not needing any government, not needing any of that shit for hundreds of years. So, but there's been the battle since the people left. They've been on these people's tails forever. And so the people who went up into the mountains and whatever, if they couldn't fight them, I don't know, they had to choose their battles. And so it was a lot of corralling, rounding up, like choosing spaces. And that is one thing too that the remote viewers are saying, that we're going to go into separate countries more, like, is that's what I'm saying. It's going to become more smaller. It's not, and then like more like how Europe is. So like Kentucky, if it, or I don't even know that things are going to be called the same places as they are right now, but that they would, but the places will be their own entity, their own rules and stuff. And you could just go across the lake and it'll be totally different ones. But but we're not going to be like the United States. That was the corporation trying to contain and control us. And it's been confusing to most people. It's like each state is independent on its own self. Why does it need this United States? Because they needed a federal control, just like how now they're trying to go global by manipulating us with these letter agencies and shit. So they're it's all this conniving that they've been after these people for all of the whole time. And the people have been up in the mountains, and the people are very resilient, independent, and they rely on each other. They don't trust the government. And now you've got a lot of these people have been living up in the hills, and their family's been up in the hills, and they own the hills and stuff like that, telling stories and saying, you know, these people have never trusted the government. They say you see a government person coming, you turn the other way, like you don't trust the government. So that's how these people have lived. This is how these people have been raised. So you can see why they're attacking these people. These people are like, we're expendable, because they're trying to reduce the population down to a minimal amount. So they're going to be, destroying, they're going to be destroying all sorts of people. And in those places, they want the resources. And so they're attacking these people, but these people are resilient and they know how to survive without these other people's help. And so you have a whole thing going on over there. So you have these people who are saying that they are trying to get supplies and do all this stuff to get to their families and whatnot, and that they're getting stopped. And so there's people saying there's about to be civil war, because the mountain people are not going to put up with this. Mountain people, she's like, we're done. We're up to here now. And these are people who don't want to deal with this bullshit to begin with. And they don't have hurricanes. They don't have these stuff. So so they are, and they know who's attacking them. They know, and they're cut off from all the stuff. But so it's like a war is breaking out over here. But this is what the people in charge want. The people who are they want the chaos. And they want it, and then they want it to look like these racist people are the ones that, because they are trying to make it okay with these other people, that they are destroying these people. So they get these people convinced these people are racist. And it's, that's this upside down world. And it's so weird how we're seeing these people really believe it, to the point they're ready to fight people over saying that everybody's lying. It's like, it's just the weirdest phenomenon to observe, to watch this and see this, how it's playing out and stuff. Is so strange. It's just as like, these people are so cut off from reality, and they're so divided and so biased and so hateful, and they are so temperamental, they're so fragile, and then but they're still the biggest bullies. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is so mental. So, so anyways, you have the shit heating up there. There was I think I already told this morning about the Black Ops helicopter thing. So that's getting bigger. More people are very interested in this thing, because people are shocked that the government isn't doing anything, especially because the news is telling people. So this is a big part of people's awakening, to see the media. This is stuff that we saw a long time ago, so we forget about it. But so they're seeing the media and all of the lies and stuff. So this is people waking up to like, what the fuck is going on? And so there's people all talking about that and everything. And then just the divisiveness and the manipulation that's going on, and and how far Kamal will take people down, and the people just keep going and not even questioning what she's saying. It's like they don't even hear. They're like, I think all they hear is blah 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 blah, but they just feel so attached to the agenda, because they see the agenda that's being pushed is where everybody has freedom. They think that the reason we conservative people don't want that is because we are against gay people, and they're all gay, and they all are so gender confused and stuff like that. So they think we're out to get them. Like, we just want them to conform to this hetero lifestyle or something and not be able to find themselves and figure themselves out. But that is all through the manipulation and mind control that they are receiving, that they think that because these people like don't give a shit. They just want to go live their lives. They don't give a shit. Go do whatever the fuck you want to do. And but these people believe it, and then they twist the information to drive home what the belief systems are that these people contain or carry. And so that it's just this mass amount of confusion that is all based off of lies and biases and stuff. So but that's all like playing out. We're watching all this stuff play out. Like, people are going to be coming to their senses, but they're not coming to their senses naturally. It's like nature is going to give a big kick in the pants. This is going to be like a big slap across the face. And but the story I wanted to say about the one that I'd heard was linked to Maria Shriver was through all these different stories that people are talking about their people and them being from the mountains, and they've been in the mountains and all this stuff. So this girl was telling her story, which I might have already told because I think I told it on TikTok. I don't think I told it on here, but it was so much of what I have been saying that I was like, I want to make sure and say it on here. So if I'm saying it twice, sorry about that. But so she is over in this area. Like, there's parts of Florida that are very rednecky, kind of backwoodsy, hillbilly kind of people. And then there's the mountain thing. But I don't know how it all goes together, like how the mountain ranges all go and stuff. But so wherever over by, like, where a lot of this stuff is going on is in eastern Tennessee and western North Carolina, I think is what it is. And so there's all of this big disaster, and it went all through the Appalachian stuff, but it cuts across. So there's a lot of things affected. But so wherever this woman is from, she's not from the area that was affected. She's from a different part of the mountain range, and her people. So she talks about when she was a kid and she would go and she would be there all the time and be with her grandparents and stuff. And so she's talking about like what her grandparents would say. Like, a lot of these people, some of the people stay living there and, live in the hollers and stuff like that. And I swear to God, I think it's called a holler just because it's like, are you hollering different distance away? But anyway, so she lived, she didn't stay living there. She would just go visit her grandparents. But a lot of people stayed, and they're telling stories like from their families that have been there since the beginning. It was since I say before the country became a country, because these people were already here. I think these other people were chasing them down the whole time. And so the people who were up in the mountains, that they were being sought after, and they have been becoming more independent and more untrusting of the government. And the government's been in there attacking them. And, a big thing was drugs, bringing them into these communities. But they've done that in a lot of communities. And they brought those ones in through prescription. So it wasn't even, out in the streets, some guy selling something in tinfoil, like it was shady. It was all on the up and up, the doctors trying to help you. And so then it turned bad. But but anyway, so this woman's story, so when she would go as a kid, and the stories that she was told, and it was weird because it was called Golden Pond. And I was like, so I even asked her, I said, is that what Golden Pond, the movie, was about this place? And she said, no, that's a different place. But the movie that shows about this place, she did say the name of it. I can't remember what it was, the name of the movie. I'd have to go back and look at the comments. But anyways, so she said, so what the story is, so up on the mountains, wherever her family was, they would talk about this thing. And I don't remember what, if she had drawn attention to it or something like, what is that? I for sure there was, I think this is what it was that started the conversation with her grandma. It was, she saw a gravestone. It was like this gravestone that was not marked or anything. And so she had said something about it. I might be off, though, if you went and listened to her. I might be off of how it started. But so she'd ask her grandma, what's this gravestone about? And she said that the story is that, so over on the other mountain over there where the Golden Pond is, this beautiful lush place, the government wanted the resources there, and they were fighting the people for them, and the people wouldn't go, kept refusing it and saying no. And so they came in with a disaster, with a dam opening, and flooded them all out, and that became this Golden Pond or something like that. But they killed all the people, and they did it real fast, and it was real instantaneous. And so she said she was never allowed to go swim in that thing. She said the people were all in there. The water came in, they're still in there. The people are, and this has been in a lot of scary movies. It's been a lot lately. And so the people are all their houses are down at the bottom of this lake. And she said all the people are on their roofs reaching up. And the story goes, if you swim through there, they'll grab you and pull you down and drown you. And so people aren't allowed to swim. But she said her cousin swam across at one time. But she said she never went in there swimming. But it's known by the mountain people that they just come up and they'll just kill the whole town. They'll just wipe out the whole town when they want the stuff. They don't care. And so in all these other testimonials that I've been hearing, there's a lot of that where that is the common thread amongst the telephone line of the indigenous mountain folk, is that when the government wants your land, they just flood you. And I think that is why they put all these dams to use as weapons. And because we just watched how it was used as a weapon, so how could we think anything otherwise? What in the hell is the dams? What was it been doing good for us? Like it's just a way that they control. It's a way that they control movement and stuff. And that's another thing when I talk so much about that I'm going to talk about in just a second, is the control of the movement. And so on theirs, that there's a whole bunch. And so I just seen another guy, and he said, all the different mountain folk know like why there's different lakes and stuff, and what's in the lakes. And it's the people who have fought the government for the land, because they take the land. And I had said, like, I think at least a year ago, about that one girl when I was talking about this before. And I was talking about this one girl who, she was talking about her family up in the Appalachian, and how they go in and they take the land and then they make it intimate domain or whatever. They create a disaster and then say it's not livable and stuff. So then they just take the land from the people. And that they did that to her family, and that her family would be really rich, and she struggles financially, but they would be really rich. But see, this is what they have done to these mountain people all the time. They just kill them, kill them, kill them. And so, but it's created a very resilient group of people, and they do have that, come together spirit. Like it's them against them. They don't look at it like they are Red Rover, Red Rover. You want to take over our mountain, you're going to have to go through us. And they'll die on that, thing. They will fight for what is right. And that's what we all got to be. And because that's what your soul is going to want to face. Your soul's not going to want to be a pansy ass and get over there and be like, oh, you wouldn't stand up for what you believe. Because this isn't real. Remember, this is a video game. This is virtual reality. So it's not really happening, but you really will see what you're made of. So the people... So the people that are fed up and they're ready to start fighting. And then you have this whole giant thing that is going, that is heating up and building up. And then the Alexis is saying that Milton is going to hit with a category 5. That it's already a 4. It's down by Mexico, I think, and it's moving up. It's supposed to be a 5 when it hits up in here somewhere. But Alexis is saying that it's going to go through Florida and then head up into Georgia and back into the Carolinas. And so what I find kind of interesting is that there is that time traveler guy that I see these different videos, but some of you guys might know more about, because I think there's several that say they're time travelers. But one, he was definitely talking about a big hurricane that was going to go and that was going to wipe out, I think it wipes out Florida. I think Alexis is saying that it's going to wipe out Florida and stuff, and that it turns into a category 6 when it goes and hits. That it becomes the biggest storm through history that has ever been known. And there's all sorts of people who are finding out about the studies and stuff, how they make the storms bigger. And it's something about, they figured out how to put dry ice in it. They go into the eye and they drop dry ice or something is one thing that they figured out a long time ago. I don't even know now what they do. Probably just shoot shit up, like who knows. They set the stage. They spray it with all sorts of stuff beforehand. There's so much stuff going on. Like they've figured this stuff out. They've been doing it above us for a long time, you know. So, anyways, we have all of the stuff going with whatever's going to happen in this new storm and how much ever more it's going to wipe out. And if this time traveler guy is right, and that this is going to be the one, and I don't remember what he said the name of the one was that was going to do it. I don't even know if he knew the name of it or whatever. But this, I do think these big storms are going to come through and wipe it out. There's people saying that today, I think it's today or tomorrow, it might be today at 5:45, that make sure you're 5:45 Central Time, or was it 6:45 Central Time? So it was 5:45 here. So 6:45 Central Time, 5:45 here, and then that there's supposed to be the earthquake. This woman was crying, and she was, God's telling her right here and now, everybody needs to be home today at 5:45 or 6:45 Central Time, because the San Andreas Fault is going to go, and we're going to have a huge earthquake that's going to change our world. So I don't know. That's what God told this one lady this morning. And and so the time travelers said that the storm goes through and wipes out all these places and stuff. It becomes a category 6, the worst storm that has ever hit. And then you have, so this is where I'm saying about the control of our movement. And I've been talking about this for a long time because I was concerned about our movement on evacuation. And when you start looking at your area and the thoughts of evacuation starts changing how you see things. And so, and I started really recognizing that they control our movement. It just became really clear to me. And and then it started just like a floodgate open of all the control that through our movement, just, through town, when, they're working on this street, but how the streets line up and how we're always directed. Like there's so much bullshit and it's so much frustration. And it's, because we're feeding whatever, all these other beings with our being pissed off all the time, but it's draining us. So it's like, this is not a healthy lifestyle, this way of living that they've created for us. They create a frustration for us, so they profit off of our frustration. They sell our energy. So we are slaves to their energy system as they harness our energy and sell it to other beings. So, and people don't realize that they're slaves. They think that they are free, but we are not. We are used and manipulated, and people are mind controlled. And even if you aren't, everybody around you is. So it's, you're going to be frustrated. So everybody's got this frustration level that they sell, and they harness this energy and sell it. And so we're all products of this, but we all come in to play this out. So it's a virtual reality game, it's like the season is here, so we got to play it while it's there. And then once the season's passed, well, that game's over. And so we'll be going into a new game, and that's what we're going into, this new game. And then out of this game, we take all of their information, because this game is linked to the next game. And so we are taking the information from this one and seeding the new one. So we are developing a new world of what we want by understanding what it is we don't want. Apparently, that's what it seems like. So on the control of the movement. So, because just this morning I was saying about these people not leaving, and they're saying that this is not survivable. Well, there's a bunch of people who are trying to leave. And so on the roads, that the gas is all ran out on the ways to go. There's no planes leaving. There's no cars you can rent. There's nothing. It's like they've controlled and contained these people, and then even have created the illusion of escape to get them on the roads, because all these people's cars are breaking down. And this one woman, so she's doing all this publicly and talking and stuff. She was at her apartment, and then she found out her car wasn't starting. Something was wrong with her car. So she was having to have the guy come out, like AA or whatever, AAA or whatever, come out and work on her car. And so she said something to him. He said, this is happening with all these different people. Everybody's car is doing the same thing. And so, a part of it is like, I mean, they talk about Starlink all the time, but there is like a control from the atmosphere of their, where that's why they want us in these certain kinds of cars and stuff, because they can control them. They can stop you. They can turn your car. They can flip your car off the road. They can do all sorts of stuff. So they want us in the cars that they can control. So it is like, okay, so is it showing that? Is it like the electromagnetosphere thing, the disruption, and that is causing the problem with the cars? Because that would also show us that there's a problem if we can't live in the natural world. Then the things that we're in are too unnatural, and we need to get more in harmony. So no matter what, either thing would be showing us that there's a problem. And the people in charge, they don't give a shit. They just want us to pay and have the thing. They don't care how long it lasts. It could last 2 weeks. And so anyways, you got all these people whose cars are breaking down. So there was one person, they've been on the road 16 hours or something. And like a drive is supposed to be 7 hours. Like it's there's issues on the roads and stuff. The water has already started rising before the storm has even got there. So they're already flooding them before the storm even gets there. They've shut down all the trash. Nobody's coming to pick up any of the trash now. So everybody's yards are completely full with all these projectiles. And I don't know, some of that big stuff going 150 miles an hour, I would assume, it's going to come crashing through walls and shit. Like, they've been able to establish hail that comes through fucking roofs and fucking walls and shit. So, yeah, that's shit. Like, I would think, oh, fuck. And what's really, really sad, too, is that all these people who are there, who can't get out, that they are saying they feel this sense of doom that they've never felt before. And and this one guy who's on his drive trying to get to Georgia, he said he's never seen anything like it on the roads. He said there's cars broke down everywhere. There is wrecks everywhere. There's some people just wrecked themselves, and then other people, there's like little mini pileups everywhere. He says absolute chaos. Well, that is what they have shown in the movies, is when people try and evacuate, that it turns into this chaos. And then if they are making cars break down, and then if they are confusing people too, because a lot of people don't realize like that they're under mind control, so that they can kind of, like do stuff. So it creates more wrecks and stuff, because people aren't paying attention, or they're scrambling their minds, or they're making them not see right. Whatever it is, but they're creating all of this chaos, and they're definitely containing. What have I said? They control our movements, and they contain us where they want us to be. So they're containing this huge amount of people in this place. At the same time, they're telling all of us that they're telling them, oh, evacuate, evacuate. But there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to get. There's all the hotels are closed down. Which when I heard the person talking about that, all the hotels are full, that was like, that sounds like, it sounds like it's like fake. It sounds like that they have like they've taken all the rooms, and then to make sure that the people have nowhere to go. And because people really need to come together. Like if there really is people who've got these rooms, people need to start opening up and saying, come on in, and people have got to go in this together and be there for each other. There's no hotels. People need to be opening up and saying, you can come here and stay until the storm passes. Then it's going to still be a disaster. People are going to be going back to, empty places. And all these places are all places that they are clearing. And part of it, with the naval map showing that Florida is going to be all gone, then I take it as the universe is also evacuating, clearing us. And all these people who are feeling this sense of doom, is it like what I was talking about, where people's soul lets them know, like, we're about to leave this game. And so a lot of people will feel like they'll feel the sense before it happens. And then they've got these people, who are in the streets and stuff and in their cars. And so all those people are easy targets. And so even if they're telling us like these people are idiots, they didn't evacuate and stuff, there's people trying. There's people trying. There's people that are so frustrated. They have nowhere to go. They are trying to figure out how to survive this and how to close down their houses and stuff, trying to come up with plans. And one guy said, make sure that you have your attic open and your little stair thing hanging down, because that is, your last place that you can go. But in the wind, man, some of these people's roofs and stuff are blowing off. And then somebody said, put all of the important stuff that you are worried about losing in your dishwasher, and that will stay dry. But also, houses are being torn apart and dishwashers are being going. But that the other thing too is that there was people saying that they tried that in their dishwasher, everything got flooded in their dishwasher anyways. And then another thing I heard with the mountain people. So this one guy, he was saying that his family over 100 years ago, they said no to the banks. That when they would come in, and that they've been destroying the economy and taking the people's money, and the mountain people, for a long, long time. And so the people lost trust with the banks a long time ago. And he said the mountain people bury their money out in their yards. And so they put it in jars. That's just, that's just a known thing, is that people bury their money there. They don't use banks. And so then I was like, well, even with this mudslide thing, that's even like a confiscation of these people's treasures and stuff, these people's life savings and stuff. So there's that going on, I'm sure, too. It's more of a stealing, you're not gonna put it in the banks. Well, we'll just wipe out your whole fucking yard and take it from you, however we can get it. Is these people are just, they're always attacking these people, those of us who live in their suburbs and in their cities and go to their jobs and buy their stuff. And we are well, the attacks that are going, is the bigger the city, the more that they show that they're not there to protect you, the more crime and the more crazy stuff that keeps going on. And it's but like out here rural where I'm at, like when they look at us as just poor people, that and so I know that they're doing a lot of poisoning us. Like I know that, like fucking stomach flu thing again. They like I just fucking know. And Stella, like she is in this thing on the bottom of her neck right here, this sore. It's just gotten bigger and bigger. It gets me all panicky, and I just like, I just got to keep going, because like I've learned that you don't want to have them cut into anything that is considered the C word. They convince us that that's what we need to do, but that is it releases all of this stuff out into the rest of our system, and it puts the rest of our system at risk. That's our body's natural way of containing what the problem is. And so anyways, it's just it's stressing me out lately with her sore under here. And then I can still feel a lump right here. It doesn't feel like it's gotten bigger, but anyway, she's definitely not feeling well, and I'm gonna dump her water again, because I just know it's fucking cancer water out there. Fucking bitches. And and she likes to drink the water outside, but what else is nature gonna drink? So it's not just her. And these ones, they don't have anybody to take care of them, or detox them or whatever, you know. They're just killing nature off like right and left. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about anything that isn't them. It's artificial, weird as shit, man. The I have two different things coming into my mind and see if I even want to address them. Because there's way more to the stuff with the ocean and the lands in the ocean, the worlds in the ocean, the beings that live in the ocean. There's way more to that. There's gonna be way more stuff I think about that is gonna be, you know, evolving as we become curious about the truth. Then so the people who are telling to evacuate, they are creating nothing but problems. Like there's no gas at the gas stations. So in all the roads, like it takes you, there's so much traffic that it takes a really long time to get anywhere. There's wrecks everywhere. The water's already rising. There's projectiles everywhere. The storm is beefing up in strength as it approaches. And, you know, and who knows, I'd be paying attention, too, to the dams and stuff, knowing what they're going to release. And if Alexis is right, if this is going to hit through Georgia and then back of the Carolinas. But wherever it's going to be, it's going to have to do with that map thing. It's going to have to do with this area is changing. And that's the thing that makes me kind of sad is that, you know, some of the people who are up in the higher mountains, maybe they'll be fine. You know, like I said, I don't understand this mountain range totally, how it's situated and stuff. Like, I'm sure people don't understand over here, too. And over here, there's a lot of activity. There's all these different people, you know, talking about the smells. And there's every day, there's these little mini earthquakes that are going. And so... And then you have all these people who are just not going to see it coming. It's going to be total chaos. You know, even a 6 right here would be total chaos. And it could be the earthquake. It could be, and it could be several different ones, and they could hit at different times. It could start here and then reverberate down or something and hit down in LA. But it could start in a place where it... isn't so much as that a tsunami, because there's supposed to be this big tsunami that's supposed to hit, and it's going to be changing the line and the water, the coastal landscape. But down there by California, that is going to have a bunch of shifts too in the tectonic plates. So they're shifting over here too, but it's more of like kind of by the ocean. It makes sense for it to drop off, you know, and this is more structured back here, but that's causing the rift in the like volcanoes, the inside the stomach, inside the belly of the earth, there's storms brewing no matter what. So I think down more south, it will probably be more with earthquakes, and up here, probably more with tsunamis. But I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes, because there's supposed to be these big earthquakes that are supposed to go all through this mountain range. So whatever down there is, however it is set to go, I would still say we got to pay attention to this naval map of what... you know, safer places. But it doesn't mean like there's one set place that's going to be safe. Like Wyoming, it's on the map and they're fucking burning the fucking shit down. Like that place is so on fire, and all the wildlife and stuff. So and Wyoming is on the new map. So there's still places that are being cleared. There's still things happening. There's still energy that is clearing from the planet. And there's so many people who are carrying these energies, or extensions of these energies. And it's like they're the igniters of some of this energy leaving the planet or exposing itself or whatever. So, I forgot to say that link, though, on the Maria Shriver thing to what happened at the Golden Pond. Because when it happened, it was 1969, I think it was. No, it was 1961. I think it was. She said. Anyways, the president was JFK. JFK ordered the, the, that was where I was like, what? Like, he would, like, the stuff that they show us, like, he was, trying to tell us about the secret societies. So, I don't know. I don't know if he was the president. And she said that that's who signed off on that being done. You know, it was like, if it ends up coming out, you know, the dams were interfered with and they were trying to take the land and stuff like that. And it would come out, like, who was the one in the boss of the country. So, yeah, it was him. I was just like, what the hell? That's disappointing. But it just opens your mind to more, like, and then you see Maria Shriver walking, looking like a fucking reptilian, and it's like, oh, I don't know, man. You know, and there was a whole thing about that family and the old money, and like, there's a lot of stuff about it. In the feuds, like, there was some feuding that went on with, I don't even know all the families involved and stuff with Hatfield and McCoy rich people. But whatever. You know, he was a part of the mass slaughter of all those people. And then another thing too is because there was something about 1969, and I don't know if it was a different video that was seen of a different lake, that was a different town that was flooded out that became a lake or something, and they were talking about all the different ones that had been done in the mountains, and they said this is being done in 1969, 1974, like this is being done like while I was alive. So they but I knew that they were always attacking the mountain people because how they talk about them on the news. Back in the day, if you look back, you can see how they were talking about black people on the news and how they were talking about mountain people on the news. And the black people, they always made like that they were trying to take advantage of the system, that they were lazy, they wouldn't work, they're thieves, they're drug addicts. And they were always, I swear to God, I think every goddamn night on the fucking news, because that was back in the day when all parents, the news went on at 5 o'clock in your house. And parents really respected it. That's how they knew what was going on in the world. And there would be news at 5, 6, and 7, I think. But 7 may have come later. But I swear it was like 5 and 6. But whatever, you know, the news said. And but I remember hearing all the time about these black women who were committing welfare fraud. All the time. That was our big news. Welfare fraud. The black women are committing welfare fraud. And it's like, well, probably because you're arresting all the fucking men. Who's supposed to support them? You're the ones arresting the men. You're going to have to pay for what you're doing. And then they're arresting all the men so that they can fucking steal their organs and shit. It probably, I bet you that all the prisoners have all been cloned. For sure, man. They probably all have a bunch of dummy clones running around and they don't even know it. Like, that's creepy. This place is creepy. There's just no doubt about it. There's just nothing you can say to convince me this place isn't creepy. But we are so in the upside down. We are so in the seeing these people and how hateful they are and calling them liars and stuff. And when these people are down, man, they are the worst. This one woman, she was crying when she did this video, and she said that, you know, all these people calling these people in North Carolina liars. They need to go to North Carolina. Don't be sitting here saying this shit if you haven't gone there. And this woman couldn't do her video without crying. Like, all these different people, any of these stories that people are trying to tell, and it's not even their story. They're just trying to tell other people's stories. They're bawling because it's so tragic. And one of them was a guy who was saying that it's a really sad story. It was this man, older man, and he couldn't get through the story. He was getting choked up. But a woman was standing in her kitchen right as the water came through. It just bolted through people's houses. And she was standing there holding her baby in the kitchen, and the baby was just shot out of her arms. And so the guy with the mules came, and she said, I think my baby's out there. It was shot out of my arms and went out there. So he went out there and looked for 4 hours through the stuff, found her baby and brought it back to her. It made me cry. This other lady who was crying, who was saying, you guys need to go out there and quit calling these people liars. She said that she went, and she's part of an organization that is trying to get going on helping the people. I think it's called INCO, INC. If somebody wants to know or get involved, I can find out. I'll share the video. And so she went out there to help with the bringing supplies and talking to the people. And she said that the people are so down. She said it's so sad. She said that people don't give a shit. They don't care. They don't want this stuff. They just as soon be dead. She said, just think about it. If your kid was just, your whole family was just killed in this, how would you feel? Like, so that's where these people are at. And then you got these people calling them liars and saying that they're just trying to make the government look bad. It's like, so anyways, all these, all this stuff is just blowing up and becoming more and more intense. And the people who are basing their belief systems off of perpetuated information that's coming through the TV, that's not coming through true people, is, and then more and more people are seeing it. More and more people, and that wakes more and more people up to the mind programming and how the division is created. This isn't happening naturally. That you're playing on different psychoses or different parts of us. So we all have different things that they can push our buttons. So they know how to push our buttons. And there's certain buttons that they've got pushed on people that they are very much in control of their minds. And I think it seems like they use a lot with trigger words and stuff. And, racist is a huge one. And all these people think everybody is a racist also feel a threat because they are the LGBTQ or whatever. And then they even had on the news, and there's been all these slips by these people talking. There's one who said, well, we're trying to execute 80,000 people. I mean, we're trying to evacuate 80,000, that kind of shit. And the news people and stuff, like there keeps being these slip ups. But this one had these, like 5 people talking. And this one person who was saying, let me think what they were saying, because it was more of this exposing shit, just exposing. They're all exposing themselves, and they're exposing other people. They're exposing the crimes. They're exposing just a lot of nonsense, and I just keep seeing things. So I just keep seeing things all over the place. Light, all sorts of stuff. Like, God, I just hope that whatever is gonna go, I just hope it's just like hurry up, go, and it's the building up. It's very tense. It's very tense. Like, seeing this lady bawling her head off and talking to God right here and now. God telling her, hurry up, tell them they gotta evacuate. And then you have these other people who are very much like this one, she was saying that the people in North Carolina, all these witches, and that's what's going on. They're killing the witches. Like, there's other people, like all the demons in California, they're about to be wiped out. Like, repent, which all that stuff, all that religious propaganda is, you do need to get right, like get right with the Lord. That's more like get right with yourself. Pay attention, look at things, be clear with yourself. Is people just don't realize that they're not, and they're way out of balance, and they're way being misled. So all of that will come into their reality, but it's not like anybody's doing anything wrong. You're in a predestined flight plan. Like, so nobody's doing anything wrong, but they keep on trying to make people feel bad about themselves. Like, I don't know. But there is this other part to it where people do need to get their shit together spiritually. But whatever the people are doing is the right thing that they're going to do. It's going to happen the way it's supposed to happen, exactly when it's supposed to happen, how it's supposed to happen. Oh, yeah, and how I'm always saying that stuff about crossing paths and stuff. So this was a story I just heard, and this guy was really jacked up on this story. And so he's in Florida, and he had been motivated to go buy a blow up bed, which I just heard his story while I've been sitting around my thing trying to think like, what would I use for a boat? And I was thinking about this big armoire thing that I have, this really antique one. And I was like, well, I could open that up. Me and the two little dogs could be on one side, Stella on the other side. But I was like, well, how could I get it to float though? And then, but then this guy came on and said about air mattress. I was like, oh yeah, so it could blow up the air mattress, flip this thing over on top of it, and then when the water lifted, get inside of that. I would need to attach this probably to the air mattress, but I could make a makeshift boat to float in if it is a water disaster that comes over here. But anyways, so I was thinking about that. So he comes on and he says about this air mattress thing. So I was listening to his story thinking, is he going to tell a story about how, him and his wife were able to stay on the air mattress, and that's how they got through it. The air mattress would get cold as shit though. But anyways, so he was telling this story, and then he had blown it up. He laid on it overnight, and then he was like, I don't need this. And his wife was telling him, you're not keeping that thing. And so he decided to take it back to Walmart. So he goes back to Walmart, and the lady tells him, well, we can't give you your money back. It says right here on the package that once it's opened, you can't return it. And so then the guy was like, okay, but then she's like, well, if you want to exchange it, you can go find something cheaper, and then I'll give you the difference. Because it's a $159 air mattress. He got king size and stuff. So he goes, okay, so I'll go back there. And he's looking. He finds this little one. It's like 40 bucks. And so he's going to take it up there. And then he heard really loud in his head to go down 2 aisles. And so he looked down there and he saw more air mattresses, and it said it again really loud on his head to go down there. So he went down there and he saw another guy standing there looking, and he was looking at the mattress that this guy had already bought. And so he's looking at those, and the guy who's doing the return says, hey, that's a really good mattress. I bought it. I'm returning it, but it's just because I don't need it, but it was a really good mattress. And I could lay on it all night, and I was comfortable, and I'm a big guy, and I recommend it. And so the guy was like, oh, cool, thanks. And so then he heard loud, to say something else or ask him something or something. So he started asking him, something about if you wanted to get a king size or whatever it was. And the guy said, oh, well, I don't know. I just lost everything. We lost our house. We lost our car. We lost everything. We lost all our money, everything. And so we got a room, and we just need something to sleep on. And the guy was... So the guy ended up giving his mattress to him, and saw that the way, how everything was. He bought that mattress just to give it to this guy days later, and he could see the incredible design in the things that people do, and how, like what I say, how we come in contact with one another, and being open and transparent, being available, being in the here and now, when you're in the here and now. And so that is how the here and now works when it's working right. And so the guy was right when he was saying, like, I went and bought this days ago, and I had no idea I'd bought it for this guy. And he said even when he slept on it, he knew it wasn't his. He knew he wasn't going to keep it. And he had this sense like it wasn't his. And he had no idea that it was somebody else's that he was going to run across, and he was going to gift it to them. And then the guy who it was gifted to couldn't even believe it. He was so excited. He just lost everything. And somebody just gave him a brand new mattress to sleep on, an air mattress. But still, when you've got nothing, that is... and see, that is what I've been saying for so long. That is what the spiritual journey has been. What can you go without? You lose everything and still find peace. But then the universe even brings us in these little gifts of connection and stuff. So they're always bringing us in this new direction. But that has been the journey through the spiritual journey is, like I had said before, like the gurus and stuff. It was like, I don't need this, I don't need that, I don't need a car, I don't need clothes, I don't need hairstyles, I don't need makeup, I don't need all of this, the things that people think that they need to make them happy. It's like stripping those things away. And that is what the universe is essentially doing, is stripping these things away from people so that they can learn that they don't need these things to be happy. And as a matter of fact, they're kind of a burden. And people are going to find out in Florida as their stuff is flying around as weapons, is because of the consumption of all of the things that we think that we need, but they really end up out in the streets in garbage dumps and landfills and stuff, because we're in an overconsumption time of mankind, and that we are in this very gluttonous stage, and the consumption is going to turn around and bite us in the ass. And so everything that goes around comes around. Everything that we put out comes back to us. And then that is the flipping to see the other side, the choice and then the consequence. And everything has a flip side. And so the flip side of a lot of things are being shown to us because humanity was driving it down so far. Even though they were being misled, they were still being self-motivated but manipulated down, driving themselves down. And this is the big kickstart for the universe to kick it up a notch. And it's like when you see somebody falling off of a tall building, and then down there above the sidewalk they have one of those big things, a big sun visor thing that sticks out. So the person's falling and then they fall into the sun visor. That's what humanity is about to do. We're going to fall, and it's going to hurt. It's going to be scary, and people are not going to know what's going to go, but there's going to be something that's going to catch us. If something doesn't catch us, it's because we weren't meant to be caught. We were meant to, that was our exit out of the game, as when we put our visors down and left the game. So, or the virtual goggles or whatever. So it's just leaving the game. And so it's not like they've done something wrong if they just would have done this or whatever. No, it's there has to be these impactful moments in time, because that is what creates this very dramatic story of the history of mankind. We are the creators of the story. And so there's going to be a lot of drama and drama and influence, the influence of all directions, because everything is going to be going in such a scatter of so many directions, because so many people fall apart, but then so many people find themselves. So it's like a whole elaboration of stories, where before it used to be the hero's journey was based like on humanity. And I think that is kind of like, but each person needs to complete their hero's journey, and that is a part of the ascension phase of the evolution of mankind, is that completion. And so it is like a gift from the universe to be taking everything away from people, so that people can see that they can still be happy, that people can still connect. And people are finding great joy in this connection, even though that they are finding disappointment in the government. It still gives clarity. Things start making sense. And so, but they find connection amongst themselves, which builds up more with the community. The only thing is there's a lot of communities that need to start evacuating, the mass exodus into safer places, but it's all going to happen naturally. It's not like, any of us can do anything to stop the inevitable. I mean, even the lady who's saying, like, if this big earthquake goes down today, and it's not like she can save people that weren't meant to be saved. You can't change what is set. You can't change destiny. You can't make something happen just because you want it to happen. It is written. It is like it's written in the stars. So and this is, it's playing out. So everything is going to play out the way it's meant to play out. And we don't have control. And then this is another thing, though, I want to say. It has nothing to do with this other stuff, but I found it interesting, is that because through our relationships, through society, how there's been this breakdown of relationships, and there definitely was a part of the part with men who went in this other direction. They want to blame it on hormones or natural part of them or whatever, like that they naturally have to go find young women to put their seed in or whatever the fuck that wants to be said. But in the sense of commitment towards a partner is that becomes so formidable, if that's the right word. But just like, throw that out the door. Who cares about that? And that girl's hot. So that became a part of our society. Like the men who went into their lackluster, into their, what is that called? Into their their dark night, into their not that, into their part where the same thing is why I said getting boobs, why all these men, these old guys go get sports cars and stuff. Because they start feeling like they're old. They're trying to capture their youth. I can't think of what that's called. But it like happens to people at certain points during their time of aging. Then I think it is probably when they start, probably has something to do with when they are not taking good care of themselves and stuff like that. So that plays out. But anyways, so in how this has been developed, which you can watch the programming stuff, like all this stuff is so programmed when you watch these old movies and stuff. So anyways, all of those men who then left their wives, so all these women who thought that they had a partner for life, and then we went through this period of time where they all were leaving their wives and dumping them off, and so many wouldn't pay child support, dumped off their kids, and went and got together with these young girls, and then these young girls want to have kids, they had kids with them, and then they start seeing they're right back in the same situation, only this girl doesn't even have any sense yet. She's still young, like I've gone backwards now, I'm back where I was. And so all these guys, having to go and play this stuff out to come to their senses. And so you have that is now, but in the interim, so all the women were forced into gaining their own strength and their own independence. Some went too far into their masculine and too far into the liberal agenda, but most women started to become very independent in themselves. They saw that there was not really a man that they could rely on. Some went through more relationships like I did, but some, have still struggled through trying to find, if there's somebody out there for them. But on the general consensus, a lot of women went to go get their shit together. And so a lot of women have done a lot of healing and stuff. And so now where we find ourselves with the men is, so we have these men now who now they see the error of their ways. They don't no longer want to be with these young girls and go through their 30s and 40s with them. It's like, fuck, I don't want to go through all that again. So then they want to go back to the older women who are sensible and are on their more mental level and that have gone through some of the same stuff, but now they're not in the same place. And so the women are now resistant to dating all of these older men who have young kids. It's like, it is so vibrating on the ground right now. I don't know if someone's driving by or something. Fuck, it's so creepy when this happens. So, they're very resistant to dating these men. That was an explosion thing. Shh, just a sec. What was that? If that's going to be the construction people starting. Let me just finish this real quick. Hold on, I think they're going to have a fit and they're have to go out. So, but I want to finish this real quick because I found it really fascinating. So the women no longer want to date these guys. They have these older, or have these kids. They're like, I'm not going back. You made that choice. I'm not going back and raising your kids for you. And so these men who want to go back to the women who they see as really having it together and wanting them to raise their kids. Hold on. Excuse me. Oh, there's construction guys across the street, so they're starting. Those people are doing a lot of projects in their house. I keep thinking, I wonder if they're going to put their house up for sale. So, anyways, the So on top of that, where these women don't want to go out with these guys now, we've lost interest, we wanted to be married to you and grow old with you and have a life with you, but now you've gone in another direction, and I'm not cleaning up your fucking mess for you, and I'm not going to be the one who's going to stay home now. I'm free. I'm confident. I'm living my life, and I'm not going to be at home taking care of your kids for you anymore. And so there's still that, where men is still, like this shift. But then this other thing too, there's all these men who wanted to just stay single, and just stay single and mingle, sleep around with a lot of women. And then they start getting to the age of where they start having health things. Then they want to strap on a woman. They want a woman to come in and take care of them. So we got both those things playing out, where these older women, older women are not desperate like these people try and put off. Like, older women are desperate. They'll just take anything. They just want some. No, older women have, like, there is definitely the sense of the strong feminine energy has surfaced. It's come to the surface. These women are like not playing. They're not like, no, they're not desperate. They know how to take care of themselves. And a lot of people have reached this point also, going through all of the dating hostility, is that they want to connect on this more stronger level. This going out and just dating a bunch of randos and sleeping around and stuff is getting nobody anywhere. And it's not finding any kind of commitment to what it is that people are looking for, connection and stuff. It's all superficial and baseless. So anyways, there's all these shifts happening, but there definitely is these women now who are like, no, I'm not raising your kids for you, and I'm not going to go in and be your nurse. I've got my own life to live. And so the wheels are turning, things are shifting. Things are falling in a different way. A different dynamic is at play. So we will just continue to watch it play out. But that is the part too, where men are going to have to take responsibility. You made that choice. You wanted to go run around and go sleep with all these young girls because you need to plant your seed all over the place. Well, you got your seed planted. Now you got a family. So that's where you're at. And that's what you've got to handle and take care of. And a lot of these guys abandoned their first families. So anyways, we got all this shit playing out, which I just found it interesting, very fantastic, or very fascinating. I want to say fantastic, but it is the shifts, the dynamic shifting is fantastic, because it has been out of balance. Things have been where people accepted abuse and thought it was okay. It's people have been living in the dark for far too long. And I've been talking far too long. This is like 4 hours or something I've talked today. But what am I going to do? Wait for the earthquake to come in and take us out? So I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen today? Who knows what's going to happen any day? Every day you got to live like you don't know what's going to happen. You got to appreciate every moment. That's one thing too that all of us should be learning through all this stuff, is that's what it has to do with, is us learning how to appreciate life and to value every moment that we have, because they all have significance. So don't just sit there and stress out. Have a plan, like have an evacuation plan and stuff, like, because they definitely, like I had said a long time ago, they are going to interfere. Evacuations are traps. And then and even this one, like these people who tried to evacuate days ahead, and they're trapped. And so who knows how all this is going to play out with, I think there's going to be mass devastation, and it's going to be starting this week. It's already going. They've already got the floods going, and the storm hasn't even hit there. And I'm sure there's going to be, wherever it's going to hit, there's going to be a fucking mass death. There's going to be other things that are going to go on, and they'll blame it on the storm because that's how they rule, or that's how they run this place. So whatever, just this week is just going to keep going. And don't go into this like there are all these people with their panicking and the panic buying, because that just creates more problems, because then other people can't come and get stuff that they need. When we go and get stuff, we have to be thinking all the time, well, everybody needs some, so we all need to share. Not like, oh, I'm going to take it all. There's some here. I'm taking it all. It's like, that is crazy. And then plus you have these capitalists who want to capitalize, so they'll go sell the toilet paper to their neighborhood for $25 a package and shit, like that kind of bullshit too. So don't be like that. Like, That's only going to hold you back. Like, go be like that. I don't have to tell you. The universe is going to show you. So I know what energy is moving forward, and I know what energy is going to be hitting straight up into a wall. So, and hopefully you're flexible enough if you hit a wall that you can figure out how to go over it. So anyways, the dogs have returned, and I've been talking a long time. So just stay safe and, stay alert and pay attention and live your life. Enjoy the moments that you have. Enjoy the day that you have. And remember to tell people that you love them when you talk to them. And, what everything we're doing here is learning how to love ourselves, love everyone, and how to have a loving day, because it's totally up to you. So I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.